Hi all, welcome back to the next episode, you could say, of the World Cup edition. And I'll be talking you about the first leg. As you all know, each team has played one game each right now. We have got a fair understanding of what each team is capable of in the tournament. The game started with the New Zealand versus England, as you all know, which New Zealand absolutely demolished England. It was a perfect revenge of the 2019 World Cup final. Of course, the same stake was not there here, but the way they performed, they really were showcasing the talent. It was in quick to go through it, I will be like Rachin Ravindra and Devon Conway just took the game apart. I don't think there's much more to talk about their batting. Will Youngfield at the top, and these should just finish the game. It was a brilliant showcase of composure and temperament by those two, and clear dominance to get the net and rate boost as well, as you all know. Then in the next game, we saw Pakistan defeat Netherlands. That was a talking point because Netherlands did prove themselves, as we heard Scott Edwards say at the end of the game, that they let that slip. I think they really did. It was in Netherlands' favour, I would say, even till the 23rd over, till Vikramjit Singh was in the crease, and they had Baz the leader who continued to make a beautiful 70. He's a wonderful class player. Baz the leader in calm, he bowls, as I said in the first episode, he's the guy to watch out for in the tournament for me, for the Netherlands squad. He can bowl, he can bat into everything, absolutely in the field. The Vikramjit's wicket was a turning point. I feel the way he threw his wicket away, that shot was not really necessary at that point of time, considering the game situation. And after that, we all know how Netherlands collapsed and they fumbled to an 81-run loss against Pakistan. But I think the star for Netherlands was Aryan Dutt in that bowling performance with Bazalida. Netherlands started with spin in that game. As we all know, Aryan Dutt, the way he bowled the line and length was absolutely brilliant. He kept the batters in check, didn't give them anything much to hit upon. And he finally got the wicket which he deserved after a long haul, after continuously bowling. So, Netherlands bowling is always a strong point. I thought that might be a factor to be worried about, but they really are proving themselves with the ball. I think the batting is letting them down. Collapse here and there in the order is just not working out for them. Otherwise, you never know. That game should have been won by Netherlands there. Then we saw a double header coming into play. We saw about how Bangladesh versus Afghanistan was being played. That was another shocker of a game, to be honest. Afghanistan were 110 for 2, where they got succumbed to below 170. That was really shocker. It was like, I don't know how. And just poor batting, I would say, first of all, from Afghanistan to just collapse. You lose a few wickets, there's obviously to rebuild. You don't need to go for shots, you need to rebuild. Just take single doubles, as we have seen usually in ODI cricket, take the game deep. But it was clear lack of cricket sense from them. They just succumbed to Bangladesh. On the other hand, Bangladesh did really well. First of all, in the bowling department, Shakib Al Hasan came in and he changed the course of the game absolutely dynamically. The way he bowled his line and lengths, he got the wickets, and that spurred the Bangladesh team up in the field as well. I would say it was really a game-changing morale boost when Shakib Al Hasan came on to bowl and got the wicket of Afghanistan. So that was one area, I think, where Afghanistan has to improve upon going in the World Cup. As I said, they are a beautiful squad. They know what to expect from them, but sometimes experience is the one which hurts them. This time their batting experience caused them. They also got out a perfect start in the bowling department. They got Bangladesh at 23 for 2 in the chase, and one would have thought if they can get a couple more at that stage in the first 10 overs, probably the game would have been an interesting game, as we all expected to be, between Afghanistan and Bangladesh. But again, that's where the difference between Bangladesh and Afghanistan I would like to make out. Afghanistan, they lost few wickets and they just kept losing wickets, which ultimately led their downfall. Bangladesh lost few wickets, but again, Mehdi Hasan and Shanto, like a proper composed mind, stitched a partnership to get them to a safe position. They knew the target wasn't much. They could take their time in. And eventually, once they got closer to the target, the team, they did accelerate to finish the game early for the net run rate boost. As we all know, now teams are looking for that as well as a margin. But again, that experience was a key factor. I think that's a key word in that game which costed them. Then there was a second game between Sri Lanka and South Africa. I mean, it was a run fest in Delhi. I don't think much more can be said. Of course, I think Sri Lanka's bowling can be a weakling because South Africa to score 428 on that pitch. Okay, it was a run fest, but you don't expect any team to score 428, man. I mean, That is an absolute hammering. Darja uda diya हमारा types, to be honest. So, yeah, Sri Lankan bowlers, of course, they're without a few experienced stars. There's no Chamira, there's no Hasranga, there's no Tikshana as well. But I think they lacked a bit more discipline, as we heard Shanaka in the post-match say that they have to take a bit more responsibility in the upcoming games if they want to showcase their talent and prove that they are here to win the World Cup. Because each team is here for that. Even Netherlands are saying, Basili, as you heard, he was saying that we want to enter the semis. Every team's goal is to enter the semis, and for that you have to perform more than 100%. Each team, for that matter. So I think Sri Lanka's bowling department has to be the one to work upon. I'm very impressed with how Sri Lanka batted though. Their batting department, they scored 328, which is not a total small total considering if you see the score. If you just negate South Africa's 428 out of the picture, and you see Sri Lanka batting first in hypothetical situation, scoring 330, 340 or 328, how much they did. It is a good score. It is just, I think, the scoreboard pressure of 428 which made them hit continuously. They couldn't take their own time to settle down as they would have liked. But otherwise, it was a good batting show. I'm not too worried about the batting. As I said, it's the bowling which is a concern in the first game for me. South Africa, for them, I think all the boxes have been ticked. They not only batted out of their skins with 3 centuries in their knock, and the fastest coming from Aiden Markram in 49 balls. That was absolute berserk. He was just, I think he was in his form of his life, and he was batting on a different pitch altogether. And then their bowlers came out and restricted him to 328. This time I'll use the word restricted because it was 428 and they restricted 328. The run margin was 100 runs, so you can say that they've done a fair margin. Temba Bama was obviously a bit disappointed, thinking that they should have finished the game earlier, but carried on for a bit more. But that happens. This is ODI cricket. These are the best 10 teams performing. You can't expect anyone to get rolled out so easily. So it was I would say, a dominant performance from South Africa there. Then we come to the main game of the tournament, which all Indians have been looking forward to. India versus Australia. It was in Chennai. I, to be honest, expected the pitch to play how it did play yesterday. I knew there will be turn and offer because Chennai is known for turn. It's not known for run scoring. I had a mind I was thinking it'll be a 250, 300 game max to max, and that's what it turned out to be. It was quite a low scoring thriller. At the end, of course, we might say it was not a thriller, but if the people who saw the game will know that India were as well 2 for 3 at one stage. The top order collapse, as we have seen. We just continued from the 2019 World Cup semi-final where New Zealand rattled us and we just fell apart there. But again, it was the same case, but this time Kohli and Rahul were there as a pioneer for us to help us sail through. Again, the target was not much. They had to play test cricket for that first 10 overs, which they did perfectly well. Especially Rahul, he was seeing the ball. He didn't give any chance at all in the 97 runs. So it was a top class knock from him. India did showcase a talent with both bat and ball. In the bowling department, of course, it was a spin troika of Ravi Ash, Jaddu and Kuldeep, which shined really brightly for Team India. And then the batting department, the star was Rahul and KL Rahul and Virat Kohli. I don't think there's much more to talk about India's performance as far as that game goes. Australia, on the other hand, I think they did miss a trick. They got India at 2 for 3 in the second innings. They should have continued with pace for the 10 over mark. Instead, they got in spin and they changed their bowling in between, which I think just gave the rhythm back to India to some extent, because at that time the pitch was favoring the faster bowlers, so it wasn't as easy to face them at that point of time. And as you all know, they were 2 for 3. If they had got in for 25 for 4 or 26 for 5, game would have been absolutely different. It would have got over much quickly as well for Team India there. And of course, the turning point for me in the game was Virat Kohli's drop catch when he was on 12. Mitchell Marsh told it was his catch. He was running a fair distance to catch that, but I think it was Alex Carey's catch. Even he was approximately the same distance and he stopped because he saw Mitchell Marsh coming in. That was the turning point. You don't get much chances with a class player like Virat Kohli as he is. You got to take it when it comes in, especially in that situation. Team was 24 for 3. It could have been 24 for 4. So you got to take those chances if you want to win a game of a World Cup especially. So that was the turning point. And Australia's batting, if I have to go quickly through, they did perform well according to the pitch how it was. I think the main partnership between how Smith and Warner stitched a partnership after the early wicket of Mitchell Marsh was really important. They understood that it was not a 320, 330 pitch, it was a 250 power type wicket, and they played accordingly. But again, once, as you all know, these type of pitches are really tough to bat on. So if you lose a wicket, you can expect 2-3 to fall really quickly, and that's exactly what happened. They lost 2-3 quick wickets, and then, as we all know, it was again onto the lower order to help them make some sort of stability with Cummins, Stark playing a role, as we all know how he can play. They took them to some total to bowl at 230, 240, I think it was a total. And the bowlers did get them, as I said, to a great start, 2 for 3, but again, a few capitalizing moments by not continuing them, and the drop catches absolutely led to their downfall. But really happy as an Indian to see them start on a positive note. 1 out of 9 done. We have 8 more games to go before we head into the knockouts. So it's a long way to go. It's a long tournament. We just got to build on the momentum, not only for India but on each winning team as well. You got to build on the momentum and take it each game at a time. You can't think too far ahead about what will happen 4-5 games later, because then you might just lack quality and focus on the next game. And this tournament can bring surprises. We are still very early in the game and the tournament. Few fresh faces, few new stars in each team we are seeing. So it's going to be an exciting tournament, and I think I'm really looking forward to how teams go about in the next coming games. Today's game, if I have to talk about, was between Netherlands and New Zealand, another fairly one-sided game. Though again, I feel Netherlands missed a trick. They got 3 maiden overs on the start of the innings, in the start of the game to New Zealand, and they failed to capitalize by getting a wicket. So from 0 for 0 in 3 overs, they let it slip to 28 for 2 in 4 overs, which was, I have no words. You give 3 maiden overs and then next 2 overs you give 26, 27 runs. You just spoil the party. Exactly what happened there. And then, of course, they did strike at regular intervals. They got Darren Mitchell towards the death, if you remember, during the slog overs, which was an important wicket. Because we know how dangerous Darren Mitchell can be. But again, at one stage we felt that they might restrict New Zealand to a total to about probably 290, 300. But then Mitchell Santner down the order, as we all know, just comes out and performs at what he can do. Took the team to 323, and there I feel they lost the game, especially towards the last over where Bazarida gave a no ball and then a 6. The momentum completely swung to New Zealand. I think from there I had no hope, you could say, of Netherlands even trying to put on a fight because of that momentum switch. You saw how upset and how demoralized the team was after the last 2 balls, and that plays in your back of your mind when you go into the next inning. So that was one of the key, I could see, the mental aspects of this game there. If you go to see the physical aspects in the second innings, Netherlands, again, they did see out the new ball. The first 4 or 5 overs, they didn't lose any wicket. They were quite cautious, and then Vikramjit Singh just played the wrong line. I think it was a ball which he should have covered the off stump and coming out of the line. So even if he gets hit on the pad, it's not an LBW shout. But he just played inside the line, got bowled, followed by a few quick wickets. Maxwell Dowd also departed. Today, Baz the lead show was not there to show his class. And then those are the early setbacks. But then there are a few notable performances. Colin Ackerman, as you all know, he played beautifully well for his knock. There was a beautiful partnership as well between these two, Colin Ackerman and Teja Nidamanuru. There was a drop catch and then a run out. That run out was absolutely stupid because that again was a turning point. Teja Nidamanuru and Colin Ackerman was slowly taking the game. I feel they were just stitching a beautiful partnership. And if you go to see the pitch map during overs 11 to 20 or 20 to 30, it was 6.5 the run rate, which was an extremely good run rate at that point. But I think that wicket again, I don't think that was a game-changing moment, but of course that was a key factor in daunting them in the chase. But I think where the game did twist and turn finally was Scott Edwards' wicket. We saw how he hit Santner for a 4 and then a 6 eventually. Then Santner tossed one wide and he hit again straight up and he got caught. There was a lack of cricket sense from Scott Edwards personally, because he's such a good player. We saw his class today. I thought it was his day probably to take the team home. But then unfortunately he just fell for the trap and got out caught. That was a turning point for me in this innings. There's nothing much apart from that. Again, it was an easy 99 run win for New Zealand. So all in all, a dominant performance. We have had fairly all the games so far, if you go to see one-sided games, it's nothing been a last 2-3 overs finish in any of the games. Of course, early doors, just game number 6 out of game number 45. We have a lot of games left. We hope that in the coming games it'll be more closer, more entertaining for the fans, because this is not only the question of a World Cup or a net run rate here, it's a question of ODI cricket in the future. So games getting as close as it can get will be much better for the branding of ODI cricket, I would say. So all in all, a beautiful few days of World Cup cricket. We head into the double header tomorrow between England versus Bangladesh in Dharamshala, which is an important game for England after how they got trounced in the first opening game against New Zealand. Whereas Bangladesh, as you all know, the Tigers will look for the momentum in the same area where they played against Afghanistan in Dharamshala, followed by a wonderful encounter, the Asia Cup Heroics game with Pakistan versus Sri Lanka. How Sri Lanka, as you all know, that boundary had got them to the final. So looking forward to that tomorrow between England and Bangladesh and Pakistan versus Sri Lanka. Gonna be entertaining next few days, guys. Stay tuned for all the live updates, and I'll be back soon to catch you up. Take care. See ya.